Okay, cool. So I have a scene here. I'm not really expecting any of you guys to have a scene right now. So the way we're going to handle that is you can either go up to the top and say File, New Scene, or you can see right there it says, a Command or Control End. Click that, boom, new scene, good to go. Something I didn't show you guys last time is we actually want to be able to save this level and keep up with it. So press Control or Command S. You'll have a save dialog that will pop up. I'm going to call this, I guess we'll just say like World 1 or something like this. Like this will be our first world that we're creating. World 1, and then you can see I'm going to save it into the assets folder right now. You can save it wherever you like. Just make sure it's underneath the assets folder because Unity relies on that. Cool. And then you can see right now, I actually have World 1 right here. I saved main last time. So if I double click on main, it'll go back to my previous one. If I click on World 1, go back to my new one. So this is a nice way to save progress. Sorry I didn't tell you guys about this last time. I get caught up in it a little bit and I consistently catch myself. Last time I didn't catch myself enough. So let's sort of think a little bit about what we need for building a level that utilizes things like power-ups. So you could sort of see on the example level that I put forward right there, it had things like ramps, it had things like large walls that you couldn't scale otherwise. There's a lot of other things that I actually didn't include, so maybe stringing together two of those at the same time, so hitting a super speed power-up and then hitting a jump power-up. That could be very interesting. There's a lot of options. So what I want to do is start out and make a really basic level that lets us showcase all of those techniques. Cool. So if you don't have the standard assets folder and you weren't here last time, you're going to have to go up to the assets toolbar, go down to import package, and then click on prototyping. If you do that, it'll pop open a window. For me, it says OK because I already have it, but you'll click import. So let's double click on prototyping. Let's go into prefabs. Remember last time, that means that we can sort of store the state of an object. So this one, I've been messing with these for a while, so I know which ones work a little bit better than others for what I want to do. So I'm actually, and if you see down here, we have this little drag that you can do. Since all these are just blue boxes, it's not actually very helpful or descriptive for me. So I'm just going to drag it all the way to the left so I can get a quick sort of view of all of them, and it's much easier to see the names. Cool. So I like floor prototype 4x1x4. So if you drag this up into the scene, boom, have it there. That's what I want to use as my starting point. So let's go ahead and click on this right here and then say reset. That'll reset its position right to 0, 0, 0. That's perfect. Cool. And then if you guys remember what we did last time, or if you weren't here last time, you can sort of drag around. I'm assuming that you guys know at least a little bit of the basic stuff. You guys weren't here last time, followed up on the videos that we uploaded. So let's just start dragging in some more. So floor prototype, drag another one in. What I'll do is probably press V, snag this corner right here, drag it down, snap it to that corner so I can start, making a little bit of a platform, maybe drag one more out, press V. And right there I drag one out from here, something that's going to make this a lot faster for everyone. I'm going to delete this actually. If you click on this one right here, so I pretty much know I want this thing right here, I just want to move it. So what you can do is you can, let's see what's in now. So you can press Command or Control D based on your system. So if I press that, now you can see I have another one. So it lets you duplicate it. So D stands for duplicate in this sense. And I use it a lot when doing level design, things like this. So I duplicated it in the exact same spot. I can hold Control and just snap it 4 units forward. And I don't even have to worry about the vertex snap because I know it's pretty awkward. And some of you guys were complaining about it last time. So if you don't want to deal with that, you can just do things in that scenario as well. Cool. So let's see. So what do we need? We need probably a wall because we have a super jump power up. So let's just make a large wall that we have to scale. So let's see, what could I do? We have blocks, we have cubes. They look almost identical to me, to be honest, so I don't know which one's better. I'm going to choose a cube prototype and drag it out into the scene. Okay. Control D or Command D. Yeah, so Control D for duplicate. You can also right click on things here and click duplicate, but it tends to be so slow that it's not really worth it in my mind. So I have my block. I'm going to press V, snag this corner right here, drag it down to that corner here. Cool. So I have one block. I'm just going to Control D, Command D, and then drag it up 4 units again. There we go. Got a nice big wall. Works out well for me. So that's a nice start to our level, testing how good the player is, able to sort of learn what the jump power-up does. That's nice. It's good to introduce players slowly to things, no matter if you're doing games or VR or anything. It's always good to introduce in slow increments rather than throwing them in the deep end right away. Cool. And then I actually like to grab one of these big floor prototypes right here and drag it in. This is a little bit larger. I just like to have a big platform for the player to land on so that it's a little bit, safer, a little more leeway. I'm going to drag it over to this corner. Unfortunately, that's not really what I want, so I'm going to click on it, press Control, and then snap it over too, so I can center it like that. So you can see that by combining this Control for snapping to units and V for vertex snap, you can very quickly sort of start getting a good grid system going in your project. Cool. So last time I made a ramp. I think that's pretty fun. Ramps are cool in my mind. So let's go ahead and mess with that. So you can see we actually have a ramp object right down here. If you drag it in, we get a nice yellow ramp. So I don't know why this one is yellow still. This is by default, all of your guys should be yellow too. I'm going to snap it up and drag it over to the center. You guys can put yours wherever you like. I'm just sort of showing you a default of how I created the level that I showcased in the beginning. So now I've got these bright yellow ramps, which I frankly don't actually like that much. I think yellow is a bit hard on the eye. So luckily enough, you can see over here in our prototyping menu, we actually have a materials folder. So similar to the materials we made last time, the prototyping package provides those for us. So we have things like the navy grid, which is what's being used here, maybe a pink grid. So you can see it's very bright, but there's a pink grid there. I'm going to use navy grid. I sort of like keeping everything the same in this case, just because I think it looks a little bit easier and conveys your idea a bit clearer. Sweet. So now we have this ramp and this platform, and I more or less want the same thing, but for the landing. So what we're going to do is we're going to just sort of drag right here and just try to select all those things that we care about. So if you get your box all the way around it, you can select all of them. So you can now see you should have an orange outline around the ones you selected. I can check to make sure that's what I want. Okay, cool. So now I want this again, so I'm going to press Control or Command D. Boom. And now if I drag around, you can see I have another one. So I'm just going to use my Control and Move to snap it over a few units, maybe right around here or so. Looks pretty good. Yeah?
Yeah, sorry, I missed when you switched the color of the oh, okay, so the materials and the prototype?
Yep. So if you dragged it over, then you can see we have another ramp. It's facing the wrong way, unfortunately. So if we press E, or if we go up here and click on our rotate tool, we can rotate it around like this. But this isn't very exact, and it's not very useful in this sense because it's dragging it like that. So if you, oh wow, this actually didn't happen last time. So sometimes you can press Control and it'll rotate them all together. I actually don't know what determines whether or not that's allowed. Actually, maybe I do. Center, my bad. So let me see if this is what I expected. Yeah, okay. Cool. So this is sort of technical, but it can be useful. So up here, there's this little center. You guys can see that. Center, when you click on it, it switches from center to pivot. So when you have pivot, that means that each object is going to rotate around their own pivot, and that's specified by the artist who creates it. So in this case, all of them rotate around their own pivots. But when I switch over to center, now it's going to rotate around the center of your selection. So since I have all of them selected together, they're all going to rotate around the center of them being combined. So it's really convenient. I can sort of rotate it like that. But I can also press Control or Command, and then it will snap in increments. So I can get a nice, perfect 180-degree rotation like that, which is great because I'm sort of a neat freak when it comes to level design like that. Cool. That's good for everyone? Works out well? Everyone has a level that looks relatively similar, or just tests the player's ability to use your super jump and super speed power-ups that we're going to be making? Awesome.